Hello, Gary Leland here with Fastpitch TV, and I'm going to talk to you today about weighted softballs. Weighted softballs are a great training aid. I used them for years with my daughter. Now in my hands, I have the 4, 5, and 6 ounce balls. Makes me think. The question I get asked the most is, how much does a softball weigh? An actual official game softball weighs 6.8 ounces. Okay, so now we have a starting point of 6.8 ounces. And as I said earlier, this is the 4, 5, and 6 ounce softballs. These really are made for pitchers. About the only thing they're for. Throwing a lighter softball is also a workout compared to throwing a heavier one. So these are, for instance, a 4 ounce softball is much harder to get the speed on than it is a regulation 6.8. So that's what the 4, 5, and 6 ounce softballs are for. They're for pitchers. And that's the weighted softballs. The lighter than regular softballs. Now we also have the 12 ounce, the 11 ounce, the 10 ounce, the 9 ounce, the 8 ounce, the 7 ounce, you get it, okay? I'm not going to bring them all out of the bucket here, but I'm going to do a little talking about this. Now when my daughter was young, I shopped forever trying to find a softball. My daughter was not the strongest throw at 11 years old. So I wanted to get a weighted softball because someone had told me that that would help train her arm and make her stronger. I shopped everywhere for a softball. My gosh, you wouldn't believe how hard it was to find. I think I finally had to special order one somewhere and pay like $30 for it at some sporting goods store. I can't remember what it was. Well, now there's a whole, like I showed you a minute ago, a whole selection of sizes of softballs. Now we bought the 12 ounce softball, which is a fine size. Some people will buy the 9, 10, 11, and 12 because that comes in the set of 4. Okay, but when we did, I'm going to give you my personal experience as to what we did. We started with the 12 ounce softball, and we would take it every day, and I mean every day. And we went outside and we started maybe at a distance of 20 feet. Started throwing the regular softball 50 times, throwing this softball 50 times, and then throwing the regular softball again 50 times. Then we worked our way up to 100. Yeah, after a few weeks we were doing 100 and 100 with this. Then we increased the distance to first base, and we would throw the regular softball back and forth 100 times and the weighted softball back and forth 100 times. This went over for a year, maybe 2 years. Then we finally got so we were doing the distance from first base, our home base, to second base 100 times. We'd start out, though, when we moved there, we started out 50 times and worked our way up to the 100. But we did it every day, starting out, basically we were starting out slowly with the distance, being short, worked our way up to 100, moved the distance from home to first base, started with a short amount of pitches to get throws again, 50, worked our way up to 100, then moved from home base to second, started with 50, worked our way up to 100, and we threw all the time. Now I'm not going to say my daughter had the strongest arm in the world when we were done, but I'm telling you what, she could throw a ball, and she could throw it on target. It's kind of like the things, if you've seen at a game, they'll have sometimes the thing where you throw with a radar gun to see who's the fastest. She was always up in the top 3 or 4, so it definitely helped improve her arm. The thing to be careful, though, I believe, is you don't want to get out there and start with this ball and take her straight to second base and you're at home and start throwing it 100 times. Start off slow, build up the arm, or you'll hurt your arm because you cannot afford to hurt her arm. It is hard to come back from there. So like I said, choose your softball. You may want to start with the 12 and work your way up. You may want to start with like the 9 or the 10. And that way you can go right from home to second base and then come back and get the 11. That's why a lot of people use the 9, 10, 11, and 12 set, the set of 4. Start with the 9, work out with it a couple months, move up to the 10, work out with it a couple months, so on and so on until you get to the 12. It's a great play. It's a great tool. Doesn't cost a lot. And you can find them at weightedballs.com. Thanks for listening to another episode of Fastpitch TV.